Hi everyone, welcome. In this video, I'm going to discuss how you can improve your social skills. The idea for this video came about during a conversation with a coaching client that I was working with a number of months ago. Unfortunately, this coaching client lost his job as part of the tsunami of layoffs in the tech industry. And he was very honest in saying, Colleen, I know I need to get out there and network. However, for the past 3 years, it's been me, my wife, and my 2 dogs. He said, I've been working from home and I haven't been getting out and socializing. I'm a bit rusty. And it made me realize that there are likely a lot of people in my client's position where they feel a bit uncomfortable. It's been years since they have readily engaged with others. And I know for myself, not only did my muscles atrophy due to the gyms being closed in California for a year, but I feel like also my interpersonal skills have atrophied a bit as well. We just haven't had as much practice. So I wanted to make this video for those of you who may really want to get out and meet new people. Maybe you were laid off and you realize I have to network and it's uncomfortable. By the way, I received an email from the coaching client I mentioned and he received an offer. Thrilled. The reason? Networking. So just wanted to highlight that. And the second reason I wanted to create this video on a more serious note is because Dr. Vivek Murthy, the US Surgeon General, has been waving a red flag, declaring this loneliness epidemic. According to Dr. Murthy, 1 in 2 Americans are experiencing loneliness. That was pretty shocking for me to hear. And I think there are a number of reasons for this epidemic, but one of them could be just, a social anxiety, whether it's due to the pandemic and not practicing social skills, or just never learning how to interact with people. So today I wanted to share 4 tips to help you improve your social skills. So tip number 1 is to develop greater emotional intelligence. I highly recommend Daniel Goleman's work. He is a Harvard-trained psychologist and really one of the leading pioneers in the field of emotional intelligence. He has written a number of books besides this one, Working with Emotional Intelligence, given TED Talks, many interviews, written articles. So there's a lot of free information out there as to how you can develop your emotional intelligence. And I want to share kind of the process that I go through in really developing my emotional intelligence. What I would say is I'm a WIP, a work in progress. I don't always get interactions right. I don't always say the right thing. And that's okay. As we're interacting with people, we need to be compassionate. We can apologize if we mess up, and we just continue to get better each day. And so what I do is I ask myself a series of questions after each interaction. So first, I'll ask myself, did I connect my head, my heart, and my gut? And by that I mean, did I really understand the person on an intellectual or rational level? Second, did I really understand the person on an emotional level? And then finally, third, did I listen to my intuition? So for example, if someone says to me, I'm fine. Intuitively, it's like, okay, you're picking up on nonverbal communication skills, you sense there's something under the hood. And so you may ask the person, are you really fine? How are you doing? And you mean it. So that's number 1. Second, I ask myself, did my ego dominate? Was I trying to push my own agenda? And what I would have to say, full disclosure, I can be a bull in a china shop. I had a former manager say to me, Colleen, if it weren't for your self-awareness, you would be a bull in a china shop. And I think it was a polite way of saying, watch your step, Colleen. So I have strong opinions, and sometimes I just go forth without fully understanding, the whole room, so to speak. And then finally, third, am I open to feedback? I really appreciate a mentor saying to me last year, you are rare, you're an outlier in that you proactively ask for feedback. And to be honest, I was a bit surprised to hear him say this to me, and I'm so grateful that he shared this feedback with me, because I think the only way to grow and develop is when we have people hold up a mirror and provide feedback to us in order for us to grow and develop. Now, I want to be clear here that I do not subscribe to the notion of feedback being a gift. When I lived in Silicon Valley, I felt like there was rainbows and unicorns with a banner flying saying, feedback is a gift, and I call BS. The reason is because in order for someone to provide feedback to you that is of value, they need to be very skilled, they need to be self-aware, and they need to provide feedback in a way that really helps to build you up versus break you down. And unfortunately, if someone, especially someone in a leadership position, has not worked through their own stuff, they may potentially project their stuff, their insecurities, their bias onto you. And this can be an issue, especially for women in the workforce or people of color. So I'm just gonna say that I may make another video on my views on feedback. So this is the process that I go through. And as I mentioned, when I screw up, I really try to own it and take responsibility and know that I'm human. We're all human, right? So as you're going out, know that it takes time and practice to develop your emotional intelligence. So the second tip I recommend is to avoid being boring. And I think that actually most people are quite interesting. Everyone has a story to tell. However, I think we can get stuck in a rut. We can engage in more kind of vanilla conversations. How are you? I'm fine. You? Fine. There's no connection. And so I'm going to give you an example. Recently, I met this man at a dog park, and I said, hi, how are you? What's your name? What's your dog's name? And he said, my name is Matt, and this is my dog Layla, and we're both aloof. And he said, what's your name? I said, my name's Colleen. I'm not aloof. And we both started laughing, and I said, but there's all different types of personalities, and it was such a connection. And I actually saw Matt yesterday at the dog park. He said, hi, Colleen. And it was just really fun, because now I know I have a new friend, Matt, at the dog park. So if you want to avoid being boring, I highly recommend checking out Vanessa Van Edwards. She is a self-proclaimed recovering awkward person, and let me tell you, if she used to be awkward and now she's this vibrant, dynamic, engaging person, there's hope for all of us. So Vanessa is the founder of Science of People. She has a lot of fun, entertaining, scientifically backed videos on her YouTube channel. She has written a book, I think a couple different books. You can check out her website, Science of People. She is a tremendous resource just to spice up your conversations and interactions. And then the third tip I have is to get curious about people. Recently I connected with someone on LinkedIn. We both had a coaching background. We both worked at the same tech company. And I asked her if she would be open to a chat. I'm always curious to learn from other coaches. And so during our conversation, which went from 30 to 60 minutes, it was very engaging. She said to me, it's so refreshing to have someone ask me questions. Normally, I'm the one who's asking all the questions. And I realized that can be so common. For whatever reason, some people don't ask questions, and it may be they don't know what to ask, they may be uncomfortable, they don't like small talk. I don't know what it is, but honestly, just start asking people questions. Everyone has a story, as I mentioned. You're gonna learn some interesting things about people. And I'll give you a quick example. I was grocery shopping at Sprouts, my local Sprouts, shout out, and I met this employee. She had these fun, dangly, bright earrings. And I said, I really like your earrings. And then she told me she actually makes earrings. And so we got into this discussion about her business and how jewelry making is one of her passions, but Sprouts pays the bills. And so I actually went to Sprouts on Friday. Lo and behold, there's Jamie. She had another pair of fun earrings on. And as I was paying my bill, she actually pulled out a gift. And she said, I brought these earrings for a customer and you're the lucky customer. So I was so incredibly touched by Jamie's kindness. And I realized when we extend kindness, often what we'll receive is kindness in return. So I'm not implying that you should expect gifts when you express kindness. However, I think that the more we can reach out to people, the more we can be curious, the more that we take time to get to know them, the more connected we will feel. And right now, let's face it, we're in a highly polarized and divisive culture. I think we're experiencing a cesspool of civility. So here is to the power of kindness, getting more curious, asking people questions. I think it could be very healing, especially in the United States. So tip number 4 is to be yourself. And I know we hear just be authentic, be real, let your true colors shine. But it's actually pretty serious. And by this, I mean, for anyone who's familiar with Dr. Gabor Mate's work or Dr. Jeffrey Rediger's work, these are 2 MDs who have really highlighted how inauthenticity can impact your health. I'm going to give you a quick example. I worked with a coaching client earlier this year, and he told me, he's with a consulting firm prior to accepting a new job. He said there wasn't a day that went by where he didn't feel uncomfortable. He said as soon as he walked into the doors of the consulting firm, he felt like he had to be someone that he was not. And I asked this coaching client, how long were you with a consulting firm? He said 3 long years, and I was exhausted every single day that I came home from work. The culture was very buttoned up and very serious. And by the way, I'm not being critical whatsoever of consulting firms. I think every single person will thrive in a different environment. This particular stiff environment was not the right fit for my client. And now in his new job where he can be himself, he's feeling energized. He said, this is the happiest I've ever been in my career. And so what I would say in closing is that being yourself is a risk. Not everyone will like you. You will be rejected. People will be mean. They will be cruel. I know for myself, I have received feedback such as my passion is annoying, my enthusiasm is grating, I need to tone it down, I need to check my emotions. And so know when you really allow yourself to be who you are, you will start attracting people who appreciate you. They're going to accept you. They will love you unconditionally. When they do provide feedback to you, it will be, for your best interest. They're helping to provide feedback for you to learn, grow, and develop. So on that note, if you decide to get out there, and highly recommend you do, I would love to know who you engaged with, what was the situation, and what was the outcome. No social skills is just a lifelong learning. And there's going to be certain people who love us and certain people who don't want anything to do with us. And that is okay. So thank you for tuning in. Until next time.